And good afternoon. This is Mariners baseball. My camera sucks. We've got the Seattle Mariners and the Miami Marlins. The Mariners had an impressive game yesterday where they responded after losing Friday with a 14-0 absolute annihilation, thanks in part to home runs by Julio Rodriguez, Jorge Polanco, where he hit two of them, by the way. And now we've got the final game of this three-game series. And interestingly, we've got a major league debut to be made, and that is by Logan Evans. He is actually going to be the starting pitcher. Very excited on what he can do. This will be against Max Meyer. He's actually one of their top starters with a 2-2, with a 2.10 ERA and a whip of 1.07. But he does walk quite a bit. 41 strikeouts to 25 walks, but he doesn't give up that many home runs. Actually, no, I'm sorry. 41 strikeouts to 7 walks. So Max Meyer will be a really tough one to deal with, especially in the suppressing T-Mobile Park. Hello, Rooftop. Did you see that there was a 4-homer game? Yeah, it was by the great Eugenio Suarez. Yeah, it still hurts to this day that that did happen. And also, for those that are on this video right now, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification. And yeah, I noticed that some of you may have noticed I didn't even really market or promote this thing. It's also because I'm in the middle of a don't quit your day job thing. So I'm going to give you guys a fair warning that this game actually my stream may end at any time, but I'm just doing it just so I can get any kind of play-by-play. But yeah, just giving you a heads up there, because don't quit your day job, unfortunately, does come first before the live streaming. So we're going to have to, hopefully, not too much hurdles go into this game. And then we will see. This game is going to start in about 5 minutes. And let's review the lineup. We've got Xavier Edwards, Sanchez, Ramirez, Wagaman, Stowers, Mervis, Norby, Hicks, and Lopez for the Marlins. And for the Mariners, Julio Rodriguez will be leading off, which I still find unideal. Jorge Polanco, who was actually on fire, 7 home runs and 18 RBIs in just 65 at-bats. Like, that is unprecedented for himself. Cal Raleigh, the Torpedo Man, batting .231 with 9 home runs. Then it's Randy Arozarena, Luke Raley, then J.P. Crawford. Then you got Donovan Solano, who finally just broke 100 batting average. Miles Mastrobuoni, who has been cooling off a bit, and Leo Rivas will be on. So this will be a lineup. Reason why they're having not Luke Raley at first base, and I guess no Dylan Moore. But if anything, Dylan Moore should probably play first base. Like, Donovan Solano just doesn't make any sense. He's just unfortunately, he's just a complete waste of time. And I don't endorse the idea of having Donovan Solano. I think his time is going to be up in Seattle real soon. But the thing is, he is on binding of a 1-year, $3.5 million contract that the Mariners were willing to overpay for him. So if you think about it, Mariners have been much more, Mariners overpaid for Donovan Solano more than what the Yankees have paid for Juan Soto. So technically, Mariners going cheap. Actually, they went expensive on themselves by paying someone $3 million for someone to basically not even get a base hit and only a batting average of 100. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, for ownership to go cheap, they definitely went expensive on this one. They went cheap in a really bad way. And they're showing the highlights of that home run by Jorge Polanco. And it was a doozy of a home run, I must say. And scoreboards to be reviewed. Looks like Houston is defeating Kansas City 6-1. Milwaukee 7-1 against St. Louis. Toronto is just getting pounced by the Yankees 10-1. Boston is destroying Cleveland right now. So the games are not over yet. Yankees and the Nationals are on neck to neck. Minnesota's beating Anaheim. Then we got the Tigers beating the Orioles, and the Cincinnati Reds, of course, beating the Colorado Rockies, which is no surprise at all. Mariners baseball is coming up next. And give me a moment to put myself on a commercial break. Senor, tell me how you make a thin crust Sahara pizza.
With your hands. Cornmeal.
while he makes that pizza. What's up, baseball fans and pizza lovers? In celebration of the start of the baseball season, we've got a home run of a deal for you. We're offering 50% off all menu items on Mondays and Tuesdays and 25% off bowling. Don't strike out on this amazing deal. Check out our menu in the description of this video and start ordering now. Delivery is also welcome. This offer goes through April.
And that's how you make Rosetta pizza. Beautiful paintbrush.
Oh, Yordan Alvarez hit a 3-run homer. Yeah, that should definitely help my team. The funny part is as well is that Tariq Skubal just earned a win for me. The funny part was I actually benched Eugenio Suarez, but doesn't seem to matter as I am absolutely annihilating Call Her Vladdy 10-1. Like, he is being like absolutely embarrassed in this game. As I'm destroying him. Greg's great team is tied, so he's not going to move up much in the standings. Not at all. Macaroni and Cheese is handily beating Joe's scary team. Craig is actually struggling against JBL headphones. Jay Trident Podcast and Oakland's Gun Club are right at the skin of each other. And you got Peanut Butter Ellie Time. Looks like he's going to be the best team in the league, as Filio Kim Rigas is completely struggling. But yeah, it's good to see that Yordan Alvarez is really helping my team. And I want to see who I have on the Mariners or on my squad today for my fantasy team. Nope, I got nobody. I don't even have Xavier Edwards on my team anymore. I used to. And now we're getting ready for that first pitch, which is going to be in about 1 minute. Mariners are at 15-12. Miami Marlins at 12-14. And here comes Logan Evans, who is coming out to the mound. He will be the one to... He'll be making his major league debut. And best of luck to Logan Evans. And Logan Evans, want to see what his attributes are. So Logan Evans doesn't really say what he's got. So he's got a fastball, a slider, a curveball, cutter, changeup. His fastball maybe goes from 93 to 94. So none of Evans' individual offerings jump off the page. He might be able to kitchen sink himself into a big league soon, which he already has. He'll throw 5 or 6 pitches to keep hitters guessing and off balance. He relies on his low 90 seamer often, not his fastball. His 4-seamer can work. So it's going to be more of his mixture stuff that he's going to be known for. So he is not necessarily known to be a hard-throwing pitcher, just like what the Mariners have with Logan Gilbert, what they have with George Kirby, but he is injured. Luis Castillo throws pretty big heat, not as much as last year. Also, Bryce Miller and Brian Wu are known to have the big arms. Xavier Edwards is going to be the leadoff hitter. Yainer Diaz just hit a home run, but the question is, do I have Diaz? Nope, I have Logan Ohape. So the Astros are just completely annihilating the Mariners. Want to see where the betting odds are between the Mariners and the Marlins? Mariners and Marlins. Who are the favorite on this one? Looks like the Mariners are the more favorite team to win. Logan Evans in 5 games had a 3.86 ERA, but he has a split of a 23 strikeout and 4 walks. So he does give up quite a bit of runs, and hopefully he can only just bring that down. So Logan Evans, mostly known for the sweeper, the sinker, a cutter, curveball, and 4-seam fastball. He doesn't really seem to throw the fastball that much. And there it is. There's the Logan Evans who's getting ready. And we're getting ready for that first pitch. And this first pitch is going to be brought to you by SeatGeek. And now here is the pitch. Now here's a ground ball right to Logan Evans. Toss over the first, and that is in time. So already in the first pitch, the Mariners got their first out. And now next up to the plate is going to be Sanchez. I think his name is Jesus Sanchez. It is Jesus Sanchez. He's now batting 212, so he hasn't really done much this season. Still sounds like it's like a typical regular hitter. And now here is the pitch. And that is going to be right in there for a strike. Hey, Luke Arkins of Twitter says, I'm always skeptical of this minor league stat, but since I'm a nerd, I took a look at Logan Evans' actual compared to them. He thinks he likes what he saw, and that is going to be a 1-1 count. Bryce Miller being shown, his starting was actually pushed to Monday. It was actually pushed to Tuesday against the Angels. And now the 1-1 and a swing and a miss, strike two. That is a 93-mile-an-hour fastball by Logan Evans. And now the pitch. Now here's a ground ball right to first base. Toss over the first, and that is going to be in time. And now they're showing Miles Mastroboni. And now here is the pitch. And that's going to be low for a ball. It's going to be Ramirez. Augustine Ramirez, who's batting 500 with a home run and 3 RBI. Seems like he hasn't really played that much. He's 2 for 8 in the series. Now the pitch. Now here's a fly ball to left field. And that is just drilled. And that is gone. A home run for Ramirez. That is his second home run of the season. And it's now Miami 1 and the Mariners nothing. And I guess you could just tell that that ball is just completely gone because Randy Arozarena and Julio Rodriguez, they didn't even make an effort to even go for it. So that is gone. And now we've got a 1-0 lead for Miami. And that was just absolutely blasted. That was by Augustine Ramirez with a home run. Yeah, that was just way gone. That went way into the pen. And now the pitch to Wagaman, and that is going to be low for a ball. 2 outs so far, but not good to see the Mariners already trailing 1-0. And now the pitch, and that's going to be popped up and fouled. I don't have Hunter Brown on my team. Yeah, it already happened so fast, didn't it? And it's crazy to think that it hasn't been since Sunday. Sunday was the last time that I actually had a game to do. I kind of did the Boston game. And that's the next pitch, and that's going to be outside for a ball. Eric Wagaman this season batting 259, 3 home runs, and 7 RBIs. And now the 2-1 pitch, and that is outside for a ball, 3-1 for Logan Evans. And if you're wondering why Logan Evans has got his debut, is because the Mariners don't even have Logan Gilbert, who's been placed on a 15-day IL. The pitch, and now here's a ground ball right to J.P. Crawford, toss over the first, and that is going to be in time to get him out. It was good pitching by Logan Evans, but he did give up that home run already. So Miami is up 1-0. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code ROOFTOPSPORTS to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. So Logan Gilbert, he had a slight injury on his shoulder and his arm, so he's going to be out for 15 days. He's on a 15-day IL. Some were speculating for a possible Tommy John was needed, but it was not needed. So fortunately, he was able to get himself at least somewhat healthier than what us anticipated. And I was at that game on Friday. What I noticed when Casey Lawrence was replacing Logan Gilbert, me and my friend Greg were like, whoa, like we were really shocked and we knew something was up. And The worst part of it, Logan Gilbert was pitching a perfect game. And the next thing you know, pretty much immediately, Miami just scores 6 runs, and they scored another 2 runs. Yeah, it was forearm tightness. So luckily he is just taking a 15-day IL, and we're hoping that George Kirby comes back at a timeable time too. They're saying for Logan, George Kirby's actually back on the rehab. And now they're saying Ben Williamson is dealing with a day-to-day injury too. That ain't good. Rowdy Tellez is on a day-to-day. Why don't we just put these guys on 7-day IL so we can allow like Tyler Locklear to get a call up? Now here's Julio Rodriguez. Now I want to see what the full injury report was for these guys. And now here's Julio, and now the pitch. And now here's a ground ball right to the shortstop, tossed over the first, and that is in time. And now we got one out. That was on the very first swing of Julio Rodriguez. Tellez was scratched from the lineup for Sunday's game. Doesn't really say why. And they don't really have anything on Ben Williamson on why he's on a day-to-day. Yeah, it was for Logan Gilbert. It was due to a right elbow flexor strain. And here is next pitch to Polanco. And that is a strike. Polanco is off to a very good start. He has 7 home runs already in the month of April. And this is just him off of being a platoon hitter. So he's doing it in very efficient ways. He's not even qualified to be the leader in on-base percentage. And now the pitch. And that's going to be a foul ball, strike 2 for Polanco. Polanco is significantly doing a lot better than he did the other day, the other year, 2024. Like, he was off to a horrible start, and now he's batting .354. So far, the Mariners have had a bargain contract so far, as now we are at the 0-2, the pitch, and that's going to be popped up to left field, and that's going to be playable. He's there, and he makes the catch, and that's going to be 2 outs. We got Cal Raleigh up to the plate. He's now batting .231. He has 4 pitches so far. That is Meyer, one of the best pitchers in Miami. And Josh, I saw your little exchange with one of our Mariners fans, and that was quite something to watch. Very thankful to see people interacting with each other in my YouTube channel. I really do like that. Do appreciate your contributions. Cal Raleigh is batting .231. He has 9 home runs. And now the pitch to the big dumper. And now here's a fly ball to deep right field, and that is gone. That's a home run for Cal Raleigh, and he just blasted the living life out of that one. Mariners now tie the game, and now it is 10 home runs for Cal Raleigh. It's Miami 1 and the Mariners 1, and that was just absolutely blasted, and the Mariners are back in business. And Josh, you said you were waiting for him to show up here? Oh, you were? I thought you were talking about Cal Raleigh for a second, but yeah, what a huge hit by Cal Raleigh. And now it's good to see the Mariners on the board. And now we got Randy Arozarena up to the plate. And now here's the pitch. And that is low for a ball. Maybe a back-to-back home run job could be useful. We have 2 outs, so is there really anything to lose? Well, yeah, you're going to get the 3rd out, but let's maybe see if we can get a home run out of Randy Arozarena. Back-to-back job, the pitch. And that is going to be in there for a strike. We're at 1-1 so far. And now the pitch. Inside, and that nearly got him. That was on a 95 mile an hour. And now we're at 2-1. And now the pitch. And that's going to be a strike. Trying to see who are the home run leaders right now. It's actually Gino Suarez is the leader. And that's going to be strike 3. That was on a check swing, but he still went through, or it was in the strike zone anyway. And that's going to be retiring the side. But the Mariners do tie the game on Cal Raleigh's 10th home run of the season. And that was just absolutely just destroyed. That went into the middle parts of the seats, and that puts him actually tied for the major league lead in home runs with 10. He is tied with Corbin. He's actually tied with Eugenio Suarez, and he's actually the leader in home runs for the American League. Maybe put this guy in the home run derby, or maybe put him in considerations for the All-Star game. Yeah, Cal Raleigh really did do that. I blame it more on Randy Arozarena more than the umpire, to be honest with you. And Randy Arozarena has really weird plate discipline, and it's kind of weird that he has a well above 300 on base percentage.
With the NBA playoffs underway, you are probably planning to go to an NBA playoff game and cheer for your NBA team or player, but knowing that playoff tickets can be pricey, don't worry, I've got you covered. If you use my promo code Rooftop Sports, you'll get $20 off the purchase and enjoy the NBA playoffs.
Yep, Silver Slugger also could be on the line for Cal Raleigh, but maybe more of that All-Star game. But the thing is, I don't really care about the All-Star game. If they don't make it, they don't make it. At least they get rest. That's how I see it. Whoa. Though for that bad called strike, I was looking at the Astros game, and Bobby Witt Jr. was called for a strike through on a very bad strike, huh? Wonder how Bobby Witt Jr. is doing right now. It's not really doing much this season from what I have seen. Bobby Witt Jr. is batting .315 with 2 home runs, 11 RBI, still more efficient than Julio Rodriguez, and 12 doubles. And now we are back from the break, and they're just talking to a bunch of random fans. I wonder if that's Logan Evans's people. We're at 0-1 so far for Stowers. And now we're at 0-1, and that is low for a ball for Logan Evans. We're at 1-1. And now the pitch. Now here's a liner, and that's going to be a foul ball. That's going to be a 1-2 count now. We're at 1-2 for Logan Evans. Now the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. And that is the first strikeout for Logan Evans. And now we've got 1 out. So congratulations to Logan Evans for performing his first ever Major League strikeout. And that definitely was. And he's only on 16 pitches now. Now the pitch. And that's going to be a strike. We're at 0-1. And now the pitch. And that's going to be popped up and fouled. We're at 0-2 for Mervis. Now the 0-2. Low for a ball. Wasn't going to fall for that one. And that's going to be 1-2 the count on Mervis. I'm looking to come back on Tuesday night for the Mariners game. He's batting .209 with 7 home runs. And now the pitch. And a swing and a miss. Strike 3. Another strikeout for Logan Evans. And this time it was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And now we've got 2 down. It was a nice swing and a miss. That was. And now the pitch. Now here's a ground ball right to J.P. Crawford. Toss over the first. And that is in time. And that's going to be retiring the side. And we go to the bottom of the second inning. That was an easy 1-2-3 for Logan Evans. 1-1.
We got an order for a Hawaiian pizza. while he makes that pizza. What's up, baseball fans and pizza lovers? In celebration of the start of the baseball season, we've got a home run of a deal for you. We're offering 50% off all menu items on Mondays and Tuesdays and 25% off bowling. Don't strike out on this amazing deal. Check out our menu in the description of this video. And start ordering now. Delivery is also welcome. This offer goes through April.
Where are we at? Do you believe in the MLB salary cap or floor? I don't believe in any of it. If your owners cannot spend the money, then why are they in the business? Why are we punishing owners that do care? No, I'm not for the salary cap. Mariners have just as much freedom to spend just as much as the Dodgers do. So I'm not gonna make it so where we're punishing the ones that actually do care. And it's not just about market size. It's also about if the ownership actually cares to spend money. Like, look at Kansas City. They were willing to spend a little bit of money, but the Mariners aren't. So it's really on bad owners that are making this league look bad more than the good owners. So on commercial break at the moment, as we are in the bottom of the second inning. Salary floor. Isn't salary floor basically the same thing? Oh, salary floor refers to the minimum amount of money the team must spend on salaries each year. I don't even care about that either. And now here is Luke Raley up to the plate. And now the pitch. And that is outside for a ball. That is going to be ball one for Luke Raley. He's batting .215, 2 home runs, and 8 RBIs. And he's really got to get it going. As we're now at a 1-0 count. And now the pitch. And a big swing and a miss. And that's going to be strike one for Luke Raley. And now we're at the 1-1. And a swing and a miss, strike two. Now we're at 1-2. And now here's the pitch. And that is outside for a ball. 2-2 for Luke Raley. We're looking at 2-2. And now here's the 2-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike three. And now here's J.P. Crawford up to the plate. And now the pitch. And that's going to be a foul ball. J.P. Crawford is batting .263 with a home run and 10 RBIs. He's actually picked it up in the last week, believe it or not. Because now we're at 0-1. And now the pitch. Outside for a ball, and that got away. As we're at 1-1 for JP. Now the 1-1 pitch. And now here's a liner blooper, and that is going to be a base hit. And JP Crawford gets on base with a 1-out single. So JP Crawford is actually hitting much more consistently than anyone on the team, including his 2024 self. But next up is going to be Donovan Solano. And that's not going to be good. Yeah, with Donovan Solano up, I don't really expect anything out of it. Now here's Donovan Solano at the plate, and now the pitch up high for a ball, and that's going to be a ball one. Donovan Solano is batting 100. He is 1 for 2 in this series, surprisingly. He has 1 home run, but he hasn't really played much in this series. There hasn't really been much of a reason to play him. And now the 1-0 pitch, and that is up high for a ball again. That's going to be 2-0 for Donovan Solano, who really has got to get it going because he's been an absolute disappointment for the Mariners. Donovan Solano he's literally the worst player on the team. And now we are at the pitch. And that was just right down the middle, and that is a strike. Safe to say that Donovan Solano has just been a massive disappointment. Now we're at the next pitch, and the pitch. Now here's a ground ball, and that's going to be a little dribbler to throw to first in time. It was basically a glorified bunt. And now we got a runner on. We got Crawford at second base, so he did move the runner. And now we got Miles Mastroboni up to the plate. Can Miles get anything in with a runner in scoring position? I don't know. I don't believe so. I wouldn't count on it. Donovan Solano has only recorded one walk, and now here's the pitch to Mastroboni, and that is a strike. Mastroboni's at 6 strikeouts and 6 walks on the split. But he's batting .250. Hasn't really done much still, even though he's known to get on base. But he has struggled in this series, going 2 of 9. As now we're at the 0-1 for Mastroboni. The pitch, that is up high for a ball, 1-1 on the Miles Mastroboni. Ha-Sung Kim of Tampa Bay has not made his debut yet due to an injury. The 1-1, and that is low for a ball. Just got the notification on my phone that he has not played yet this entire season. So I guess the Mariners, now I can see why they didn't really go for him, even though I thought they should have went for Ha-Sung Kim. But the Dodgers got him, and now he's in their minor league system. Now we're at 2-1 for the Maestro. And now the pitch. And that is going to be low for a ball. 3-1 on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. I thought that was going to be a strike. Maybe that was a makeup call for the Randy Arozarena strikeout. On deck will be Leo Rivas. He will be the next batter if Mastroboni can prolong the inning. Now we're at 3-1. And that is going to be outside for ball 4. Take your base. And now you got runners on first and second with 2 outs. And it's going to be up to Leo Rivas to drive in some kind of runs. And it's still going to be a mystery why Ben Williamson was scrapped or scratched. They're saying that it was back spasms. Guess that's what it was. Now we're at 1-1. And now the pitch. Check swing. Did he go? He did, indeed. And that's going to be 1-1 for the Leo Rivas. Let's see if Leo Rivas can get anything done to get at least a run in to give the team the lead. And now the 0-1 pitch. Check swing. Did he go again? He did not. And that's going to be ball 1. 1-1 the count. Now we're at 1-1. Fielding coverage, only 1 error this season. 7 starts second base. Last 4 games, 600 on base percentage. And now the pitch. And that is going to be outside for a ball. 2-1 for Leo Rivas. Leo Rivas has a 500 on base percentage. So he does get on base more than at least half the time with 7 walks and just 4 strikeouts. It's a pretty good split. As now we're at the 2-1 for Leo Rivas. The pitch. Low for a ball. Ball 3, 3-1. And you would think a strike's going to be coming on here because you don't want to walk to get Julio Rodriguez up to the plate with the bases loaded, but he doesn't really do much anyway. As we're at 3-1, and now the pitch. And that's going to be a strike. And Meyer got lucky on that one. That seems to be the makeup call on Miles Mastroboni. And now it's going to be 3-2 the full count. Again, Leo Rivas is batting .333 with a 500 on base percentage. It's going to be 3-2 on Rivas. Now the 3-2 pitch. And that is up high for ball 4. Take your base. And now we got the bases loaded for Julio Rodriguez. And Julio Rodriguez, how does he do with bases loaded in his career? That's the big question that I would like to know. And Julio, he's at least hit a grand slam. I think he's only hit one grand slam in his entire career. In his career with the bases loaded, and I am looking it up right now. Trying to find it still. And then the pitching coach looks like they're having a conversation with him. He's like, dude, relax. It's just Julio. He's not going to really do anything for you. When he has the bases loaded, he's batting .322. Wait, no. When he has bases loaded, he's batting .340 with a home run and 43 RBIs. Now the pitch. Now here's a ground ball, and that's going to get right through for a base hit. That will at least score a run. Here comes J.P. Crawford. He scores. Throw to second, not in time. And I believe the Mariners got 2 runs. They did. And that's going to be a 3-run lead on a 2 RBI single by Julio Rodriguez. What a nice hit by Julio. And it's good to see the Mariners take a 3-1 lead. And he did it with the bases loaded. Yeah, J.P. Crawford did it. And then you saw Miles Mastrobuoni running to get home. And you saw Leo Rivas was barely back in time. Julio with 2 runs in. Make it 3-1 Mariners. Now here's Polanco. Can he do some more extra damage? Now the pitch. And now that is a strike. That's going to be an 0-1 count on Jorge Polanco. He's batting .348. He flied out last time to left field. 7 home runs, the pitch. And now here's a liner, and that's going to be a base hit going into the gap. Here comes Leo Rivas. He is going to score. And does Julio score? Is he going to third base? And Polanco's going to slide in with a double. And the Mariners now lead it 5-1. I'm sorry, the Mariners lead it 4-1 on an RBI double by Jorge Polanco. And it's like a minute later, and now the Mariners are putting up runs, and they're playing the small ball. They're not living and dying by the home run this time in this inning. And that is very encouraging to see. A nice base hit. Now here's Cal Raleigh. Can he hit another home run? Let's do that. The pitch. And that's going to be a strike. Didn't seem like he liked the pitch very much, but with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, yeah, Jorge Polanco has been very clutch. 4 of 6 with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. Now the pitch, and that's going to be popped up and fouled. You figure that Cal Raleigh's trying to go for another home run, and the Mariners are doing this off of 2 outs. Cal Raleigh's now batting .238 with 10 home runs and 17 RBIs. Cal Raleigh is off to a good start in this game, at least. And now the pitch. Low for a ball, 1-2. And now the pitch. And that's going to be a foul ball. We're looking at 1-2 on the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh this season has a .344 on base percentage. He's been definitely improved from last season. And now the 1-2 pitch. And low for a ball. Good eye on Cal Raleigh as he did not chase for that one. Good to see Logan Evans getting a very significant run support, which was absolutely what he needed for this game, especially when he gave up a solo home run already. Now we're at 2-2 on the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And now the pitch. And that's going to be a foul tip, and that hit off of his foot or his leg. And now it's going to be 2-2 on Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh looking at 0-2. 2-2, shall I say. And now the pitch. And that's going to be a foul ball. And Cal Raleigh is continuing to fight it off once again. Why are they showing the screen for so long? Okay, we get it. All right, now we're at 2-2 for the big dumper Cal Raleigh. And now the 2-2 pitch. Now here's a liner, and that's going to be a foul ball. That was a laser. Had that been fair, could have been a fair ball, but did not happen for Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh's in the running to be one of the best catchers in Mariners history, right along with Dan Wilson, who was also a longtime good catcher for the Mariners. And now we're at 2-2, and now the pitch, and that's going to be jammed, popped up, and fouled again. Cal Raleigh's still fighting this off. You got to give him credit for that. He is able to fight this off. Now it's just got to turn into a hit so we can get some more runs in there. And now the pitch, and a swing and a miss, strike three. That's going to retire the side. But despite that, the Mariners got 3 runs in there. And we go to the very next inning. It looks like we are back from the break. And they're showing some of the notable highlights by Logan Evans. It's 4-1 Mariners so far. Only 1 hit allowed by Logan Evans, and that was that oopsie home run. Hicks is batting .245. And now the pitch. And that's going to be up high for a ball. .1-0. And that is outside for a ball. Ball 2, 2-0. The pitch. Up high for a ball. Nearly got him. That's going to be a 3-0. Marlins are 4-6 on the road, while the Mariners are 9-6 at home. And now the 3-0. And that's going to be up high for ball 4. Take your base. Mariners are 9-6 on at home, and they are 6-6 on the road. Could have been better if they just didn't lose that, if they didn't get swept by the Giants, which was really embarrassing, if you ask me. Mariners have lost a series once, and they have won a series once. As we're at Lopez, and now the pitch. And that's going to be right in there, barely in there for a strike. Otto Lopez is the hitter. We're at top of the third so far. Mariners lead it 4-1, in case if you just tuned in. And now the pitch. And that's going to be fouled back, and that is going to be strike 2 for Otto Lopez. So we got strike 2. Logan Evans is off to a good start with 27 pitches so far in 3 innings. Wonder how long he's going to last, though. Now the pitch. Outside for a ball, and that nearly got away, and that is going to be a 1-2 count. As we're at 1-2. And the pitch. Now here's a fly ball to deep center field. Julio's going back, and he makes the catch right at the warning track, and that's going to be 1 out. That went all the way to the marine layer, and thankfully it was saved by the marine layer. All I can say, it was a real close one. Now we're next pitch, and now here it is. It's going to be a bunting effort, and that's going to move the runner. The toss over the first, and that is barely in time, but we got a runner at second base with that movement, thanks to the bunt by Miami. It's now 4-1. And now the pitch. And that's going to be up high for a ball. It's going to be a ground ball foul. And the pitch. And a swing and a miss. That was a nice little curveball. If that was a curveball, it was actually a cutter. And now we're at 1-2 on Sanchez. The pitch. And that is low for a ball, 2-2. Sanchez having a little discussion with that umpire. Logan Evans is trying to get out of it. His pitching count has kind of increased just a little bit for the third inning, but he's got to get out of it. And now the pitch. And that's going to be a foul tip. As we're at 2-2, the pitch. And that's going to be a foul ball popped up. And that could be playable. Could it be? And he doesn't get it. That was Master Boney making the effort. So the Houston Astros just won their game today. Makes it much more tighter in the AL West. Also, the Texas Rangers are winning as well. So the Mariners have got to win this game if they want to keep that division lead. They have the best run differential in the American League West. Now we're at 2-2. Best team in the American League is actually the Detroit Tigers. They have a 42 run differential. One of the best teams at home. And now we're at 2-2 for Sanchez. They got to get this guy out. And now the pitch. And it's a ground ball foul again. And it just continues for Sanchez and Evans. Two and two for Sanchez. And the pitch. Up high for a ball 3. That was a 93-mile-an-hour pitch. That was actually a sinker. I've never had much breaking stuff when I played Little League Baseball as a pitcher. Now we're at 3-2. And the pitch. Low for a ball 4. And now Logan Evans is now struggling. He's now working on a jam. And now we got the next hitter. That's going to be Ramirez, who hit the home run last time. Mariners and Angels are coming up in this series, and the Angels really did give the Mariners a really hard time last year. They were partially, so much meltdowns happen in those series. They're having a chatter. Cal Raleigh is having a chatter. Umpires telling me that it's time. Another brawl, huh? It wasn't even a brawl. It was just a yelling fest. Oh, that's right. He's on the Angels now. I guess we'll find out on Tuesday. He'll be met with boos for sure. As we got Agustin Ramirez, and now the pitch. And that is a strike. But I think Hector Neris, he did play as a Cub and visited the Mariners possibly. And now we're at 0-1. And now the pitch. And that's going to be a foul ball. I think it was a Friday that they had Hector Neris pitching. He did not pitch that game. Yep, Hector Neris has already pitched, so maybe all the errors has gone out of the pitch. Outside for a ball 1-2 after he was able to get 2 strikes from Ramirez. Now he's pitching ball. Now we're at 1-2 and the pitch. That's a foul ball. One and two. And now the pitch. And that's going to be outside for a ball. That was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. So he does top out to a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. But it's going to be up to Logan Evans to see if he can get these guys out. Now we're at 2-2 and the pitch. And that's going to be popped up and fouled. We're now at 2-2. It is Ramirez. He's at 1-1. And now the pitch. And that's going to be foul ball. And Logan Evans is being taxed quite a bit. We're at 2-2. The pitch. And that's going to be fly ball. Popped up more like. Rayleigh's there and he makes the catch. And that will retire the side as Logan Evans was able to get himself out of a jam. And due up next is going to be Randy Rosarena, Luke Rayleigh, and J.P. Crawford. J.P. Crawford, who started the rally last inning. We just got an order.
While he makes that pizza, what's up, baseball fans and pizza lovers? In celebration of the start of the baseball season, we've got a home run of a deal for you. We're offering 50% off all menu items on Mondays and Tuesdays and 25% off bowling. Don't strike out on this amazing deal. Check out our menu in the description of this video and start ordering now. Delivery is also welcome. This offer goes through April.
And now we are back from the break. And now here's Randy Rosarena, the pitch inside, and that is going to be a ball. Want to know the count and the pitch. Now here's a ground ball to second base. He's got it and throws him out, and that's going to be one out. Now the pitch, and that's going to be a strike. That is Luke Rayleigh. Oh and 1. And now the pitch. And that is going to be up high for a ball, 1-1. And the 1-1. And that's going to be low for a ball, 2-1. Two and 1. And the pitch. Now here's a ground ball, and that's going to be foul ball. We're at 2-2. The pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's going to be 2 outs already for the Mariners. It's almost like you blinked an eye, and next thing you know, it's 2 outs. Now here's J.P. Crawford up to the plate, the pitch. And that's going to be just outside for a ball. We're at 1-0. And here it is. And that's going to be a strike, 1-1 on the J.P. Crawford. One. And that is going to be a strike. We're at 1-2. And here it is. And that is strike 3 called, and he knew it. That's going to retire the side. And we're going into the top of the 4th inning. It is still 4-1 Mariners.
Modern Exterior Solutions is a fully licensed and insured full-service exterior renovations company serving Seattle and East Side communities. We know that a home is one of your most important possessions. That's why we're committed to providing high-quality, affordable home renovations for each customer's individual budget. We're diverse enough to meet the challenges of any project you put in front of us. Our workmanship minimizes the use of third-party services, and our team works together to meet all your deadlines. Anytime there's a challenge, we work with you to find a solution. We are proud to work with distributors of quality brand products with durable, ample protection from the elements for a variety of applications, including James Hardie siding and trim. Talk with us today about your project's needs, and we can help you solve all the challenges along the way.
Marshawn Lynch is being shown on commercial. Commercial break is still going on. I wonder what's going on around the league right now. In the NBA playoffs, I'm very curious how it's going. So Minnesota leads 2-1 in that series. Lakers are struggling right now. The Knicks had just won to make a 3-1 series lead against over the Pistons. And we are back from the break. And that's going to be low for a ball, 1-0. And I haven't even mentioned how many games I've done so far this season yet. Going to look it up right now. And now the 1-0 pitch. And that's going to be a foul ball. As of now, I'm at 16 games. This is my 16th out of my 28 games. The pitch. I've missed 12 games so far. And much of it was inflated because I was not able to do the last 5 games for the Mariners. I missed the entire Boston series and now 2/3 of the Marlins series. But I am back now, and we're at the 1-2. And frame job was trying to be done, but it didn't really work out. And that's going to be a 2-2 on Eric Wagaman. On Tuesday, I'll be back against the Angels and the 2-2. And now here's a fly ball drilled to right field. And is that a foul ball? That looks like it was a foul ball. That looked pretty good. Now we're at 2-2. Yep, it was fouled. Two. That's going to be popped up and fouled. Now we're at 2-2. Logan Evans taking his time. And now the 2-2 pitch. Now here's a liner to left field, and that's going to be a foul ball. They are still fighting this off. 2-2. Here's a ground ball right to J.P. Crawford. Throw over the first. And that is in time, and that's going to be the first out. 55 pitches for Logan Evans. Curious how many pitches he's actually going to be allowed to pitch, though. Is Logan Evans on a pitch count? That I wonder. Rowdy Tellez got hurt because of a hit by a pitch. And now the pitch. Ground ball foul. That is the Stowers. Now we're at 0-1. Low for a ball. The 1-1. And that's going to be popped up to left field, and Randy Arozarena is easily there, and he makes the catch. They're showing Rowdy Tellez was slightly hurt because he got hit in the hand. Now the pitch. And that's going to be popped up to second base. And that's going to be actually JP going for it. He calls for it. He makes the catch. And that's going to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning. It is still a 4-1 Mariners lead. Senor, tell me how you make a thin crust Sahara pizza.
With your hands. Cornmeal.
While he makes that pizza, what's up baseball fans and pizza lovers? In celebration of the start of the baseball season, we've got a home run of a deal for you. We're offering 50% off all menu items on Mondays and Tuesdays and 25% off bowling. Don't strike out on this amazing deal. Check out our menu in the description of this video. And start ordering now. Delivery is also welcome. This offer goes through April.
And that's how you make Rosetta pizza. Beautiful thin crust.
And we are back from the break. Now here's Donovan Solano up to the plate. Now the pitch. And that's going to be a strike. The only value that Solano provided was he did advance a runner, which led to 3 runs of extra. And the pitch. Low for a ball. That's going to be a 1-1 count. Now we're at 1-1, and the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. One and 2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And that's going to be 1 out. Donovan Solano is continuing to prove that he does not belong on the Mariners. He adds no value to the team. That will just tank his batting average even further. His batting average is now 0.95. And the pitch to Miles Mastroboni, and that's going to be outside for balls. He drew a walk last time. And he did score. He did score as a runner. 1-0 on the Mastroboni. And the pitch, and that is going to be outside for a ball. 2-0. Now we're at 2-0, and the pitch, and that's going to be fly ball and foul. We're at 2-1. And now the 2-1 pitch. Here's a ground ball foul, 2-2. And now 2-2. Outside for a ball, 3-2, as Mastroboni is able to draw it to a full count, 3-2. Now we're at 3-2. And now the pitch. And that's going to be popped up to left field. And he's going to make it. Left fielder's there and he makes the catch. And that's going to be 2 outs. Next is Leo Rivas. Now it's going to be up to him. And the pitch. It's going to be up high for a ball. Now the 1-0. And that's going to be outside for a ball, 2-0. Two and 0, and the pitch, and that's going to be a strike. 2-1. Now we're at 2-1, low for a ball, and that's going to be 3-1 as Rivas was able to draw to a 3-1 count. And next up to the plate is going to be Julio Rodriguez if Rivas can get on base. Now we're at 3-1, and the pitch, and that is low for ball 4. Take your base. Meyer is now up to 72 pitches, and Leo Rivas with his second walk of the game. Hello, Daniel Barry. How are you doing? The pitch, and that is going to be a strike. Thank you very much, Daniel Barry, for tuning on to this show. Julio Rodriguez at an 0-1. He had a 2-run single last time. Got his batting average of 200. Can he do more? In the throw to first, and it's not in time. As we are at 0-1. And now here's the pitch. That's a ground ball foul. As we are at 0-2. Oh, 2. Up high for a ball, 1-2. I know, Josh. I feel you. Daniel doesn't really text much. He's like, yeah, hello, go Mariners. Yeah, we need some more. As we're at 1-2 for Julio Rodriguez. And now the pitch. Low for a ball, 2-2. We're at 2-2. 2-2. Low for a ball. That nearly got Julio. And now we're at 3-2. Three and two. And a swing and a foul tip. Julio staying alive still. Buster, haven't seen you before. Go Mariners. We're at full count, 3-2. Lost my pen. And now the pitch. Low for ball 4, take your base. And up next is going to be Jorge Polanco, who, by the way, is 4 for 6 with runners in scoring position. So this is a chance for Jorge Polanco to really break this game open and hopefully put the game out of reach. And I lost my pen. Oh, here it is. Polanco, 4 of 6 with 2 outs with runners in scoring position. So this is where he thrives. Now it's going to be nothing happening. Now we're at 1-0. And the pitch. Low for a ball. That is 2-0. Home runs in first 2 games of the series. Home run in 3 of the last 4 games played for Jorge Polanco. As we are at 2-0. And now the pitch. And that is a strike. He's working the count to make it 2-1. Now we're at 2-1 again. BC says, go Dodgers. And the 2-1. And a swing and a foul tip. Now we're at 2-2. Two and two. Now here's a liner to center field, and that is going to be a base hit. And scoring is going to be Leo Rivas, and no throw to the plate. It was cut off, and the Mariners now extended to a 5-1 lead on another RBI by Jorge Polanco, and that makes him 5 of 7 with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. And that was a nice little blooping liner for Polanco to give the Mariners a 5-1 lead. Now here's Cal Raleigh, the pitch, and that's going to be a strike. Now we're at 0-1. Now the pitch. Low for a ball, 1-1. We're at 1-1 so far. Cal Raleigh hit a home run in the first inning. He's now tied for the major league lead in home runs, the 1-1. Now here's a ground ball, and that's going to be a diving stop. Go over the first, and that's going to be in time to retire the side. But the Mariners add on one more run off of Jorge Polanco to make it 5-1. Oh boy, Josh and a Dodger get into a fight. Josh is an Astros fan, by the way. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code ROOFTOPSPORTS to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. Woo! Commercial break is ongoing. Showing some of Logan Evans' highlights. Only 2 strikeouts so far and 2 walks. The pitch, and that's going to be inside for a ball. He's going into inning number 5. He has on 60 pitches, actually still very efficient. The 1-0. Now here's a fly ball to left field, and Arozarena can't get to it, and that is going to drop in for a base hit, and the throw to second is not in time. It was held to a single, but I think Randy Arozarena just didn't pay attention and lost that range coverage. Now the pitch, and that is a strike. Now we're at 0-1 for Logan Evans. Now the pitch, and that is low for a ball again, 1-1. And the pitch, outside for a ball. And that's going to be just inside for a ball. Now we're at 3-1. Low for a ball 4. And Logan Evans now has runners on first and second with nobody out. Yeah, Josh, why would you do that? Good job, Joshy. And now we got some activity in the bullpen. Got Colin Snyder and Gabe Spire. So I would imagine after this inning, I think they're going to go to the bullpen after this inning, or it could be happening as early as this inning. What I miss on Dansby Swanson? No, nothing. Now we're at 0-1. And the pitch. And that's going to be popped up and fouled. And the 0-2. Low for a ball that gets away. And now you got runners on second and third. Now we're at 1-2. And the pitch. And that's going to be a ground ball. That's going to score in a run. The toss over the first. And that's going to be in time. But the runner does score to make it 5-2 Mariners. And now the pitch. Outside for a ball. Now we're at the pitch. Low for a ball. And the pitch. And that's going to be a strike. Now we're at 2-1. This is Xavier Edwards. And also, Steve has agreed to join into my show within the next 15 minutes. And the pitch. And that's going to be a fly ball to left field. Rosarena is there, and he makes the catch. That shouldn't move anyone, and that's going to be 2 outs. I think this will be his last inning. He's at 74 pitches, close to 80. It's like 6 innings. He struggled this inning. I think they're going to go to the bullpen after this inning. If Evans gives up one more run, then I think that will be it after that. Not exactly the best debut I've seen for a Mariners pitcher, but at least he kept it to 2 runs so far for now. Now here's a ground ball foul. And that is Sanchez. The pitch. And that is going to be low for a ball. Bizzardo is actually not in the bullpen right now. It's actually Colin Snyder or Gabe Spire. And now we're at 0-2 for Jesus Sanchez. And the pitch. Ground ball foul. Of course you are, Josh. And the pitch. And that's going to be strike 3 called, and Logan Evans gets himself out of it, kind of. They do score a run, though, and that's going to retire the side, and we're going to go to commercial break.
Modern Exterior Solutions is a fully licensed and insured full-service exterior renovations company serving Seattle and East Side communities. We know that a home is one of your most important possessions. That's why we're committed to providing high-quality, affordable home renovations for each customer's individual budget. We're diverse enough to meet the challenges of any project you put in front of us. Our workmanship minimizes the use of third-party services, and our team works together to meet all your deadlines. Anytime there's a challenge, we work with you to find a solution. We are proud to work with distributors of quality brand products with durable, ample protection from the elements for a variety of applications, including James Hardie siding and trim. Talk with us today about your project's needs, and we can help you solve all the challenges along the way.
And we are back from the break. Talking to Jen Mueller for a pretty extensive amount of time. Now we are back from the break. Randy Arozarena takes it for a ball. Now we're at 1-0. And now the pitch. And a big swing and a miss, and that's going to be a 1-1. Now we're at 1-1. Low for a ball, 2-1. Now at 2-1. And the pitch. Now here's a liner, and that is going to be a base hit to left field. And Randy Arozarena gets on base with a base hit. And now next up to the plate is going to be Luke Raley. And you would hope that Donovan Solano would be done for the rest of the day. Randy Arozarena with a nice hard base hit. Now the pitch to Luke Raley, and that's a strike. Looks like Randy Rosarena was trying to steal just by the reaction to the catcher. Looks like it did not happen. Luke Raley has been 4 of 9 in this series, but he has struggled this game, so he was actually 4 of 7. Now we're at 0-1. And now the pitch. Low, that is inside. That nearly got him. Now we're at 1-1. And the pitch. And that's going to be popped up and fouled. Now we're at 1-2. And the throw to first. And it's not in time. Now we're at 1-2. And the pitch. Ground, that's a foul ball. Still 1-2. Luke Raley's got to really get it going. Now we're at 1-2. And the pitch. And fouled again. Now we're at 1-2. And the pitch. Oh, nope. It's a throw to first. Not in time. Still 1-2. Still at 1-2. Now the 1-2 pitch. And that's going to be foul ball. Looks like there was a pitch out attempt because Randy Rosarena was stealing. And he has to go back. Now we're at 1-2. And the pitch. No, it's going to be. Oh, I wonder if that was a balk call. I think it was a balk. And now Randy Rosarena looks like he's going to second base on a balk by Henriquez, who is, by the way, the new pitcher for the Marlins. And that's a strikeout for Luke Raley as he just struck out. And now it's going to be JP Crawford up to the plate. Now we're at 1-2 for JP. And the pitch. And that is going to be a strike. Now we're at 0-1 for JP. And the pitch. Inside for a ball. Now we're at 1-1. Now the 1-1 pitch. Now here's a fly ball to deep right center field. Is that going? That is gone. That is a 2-run home run for J.P. Crawford. And the Mariners continue to break it open to make it 7-2. That is his second home run of the season. And the Mariners continue to put up the runs. And so much for saying the marine layer issue, because the Mariners are certainly not having problems today. Mariners 7, Marlins 2. Randy Arozarena scored along with J.P. Crawford, and that was just beautifully hit to right center field. And this game is running away quickly. Now here's a liner to left field, and that is going to be a base hit by Solano, and he gets the double. He's going to second base, and he finally gets a big one. And now Solano's at second base with a double, and he finally does it. And let's give him a round of an applause. He finally did it. Now here's Mastroboni up to the plate, and now the pitch. And that was just right in there for a strike. Mariners would love to win this series. Now in the NBA, the Lakers are now in the lead. Now we're at 0-1. And now the pitch. Low for a ball. Astros won their game 7-3 officially. And how are the Texas Rangers doing? They're tied 2-2 with the Giants. Would be nice if the Mariners can get this win. Now the pitch, and that is going to be a foul ball. One and two. And that's going to be popped up and fouled. We're at 1-2. And the pitch. Low for a ball that gets... No, it doesn't get away. Not that Solano is really going to have much speed anyway. Now we're at 2-2 for Miles Mastroboni. He's fighting it off as best he can. And the 2-2. Low for a ball, 3-2. Still at 3-2. And the 3-2. And that's going to be a foul ball. Now we're at 3-2. And now the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. And that is going to be 2 outs for the Mariners. And now it's going to be up to Leo Rivas, who has 2 walks so far, who's been very efficient for the Mariners, especially throughout this season. And the pitch. Ground ball foul for Rivas. 0-1. And the pitch. And that is just right in there for a strike, 1-1. And the 0-2. Low for a ball. That nearly got away. And now we're at 1-2 for Leo Rivas. And the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. That's going to retire the side. We go to the top of the 6th inning. But don't forget, J.P. Crawford lasted a 2-run home run to extend the Mariners' lead to 7-2. You know what odds is that the All-Star game hasn't been? Yep, since 1990. Yeah, it sounds about right. 91 was at the Sky Dome in Toronto. 92, trying to remember where 92 was. But we can go over all the All-Star game in history. And we are back from the break, and I did predict it. Colin Snyder is now the pitcher, and that is a strike. And that means Logan Evans' day is over. He gave up 2 runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Not exactly the best, but still held it to 2 runs, still limited the damage, the pitch. And that is outside for a ball. And now the pitch. And that is going to be a swing and a miss. The next All-Star game is going to be in Atlanta. Now we're at 1-2. Now the pitch outside for a ball. Now we're at 2-2. Now 2-2. And a swing and a foul ball. It's going to the All-Star game. 1990 was the last time the Mariners, or not that the Mariners, the All-Star game was in Wrigley Field, Chicago. After that was Toronto, then San Diego. Now at 2-2 for Ramirez, the pitch. And now here's a fly ball drilled to left field. Forget about that one. That went all the way to the upper deck. And now Miami, Augustine Ramirez, now makes it his third home run of the season. And now it's the Mariners 7 and Miami 3. And that was actually his second home run of the day. And that was just absolutely tanked. And I'd say don't pitch to him again for the rest of the game. And now it is now within 4 runs. And that was just, I just got to say, that was just blasted. Yeah, that baseball was absolutely killed. Yeah, we saw that. That was just absolutely just blown up badly. And now here's a fly ball to center field, but Julio's going to be there. And he makes the catch, and that is going to be 1 out. And now the pitch. And that's going to be a ground ball right to first base. Donovan Solano toss over the first, and that's going to be in time. And now we've got 2 outs, and we are now joined by Steve Silver. He will be shown in just a couple moments. Actually, a moment. Hey!
Didn't realize my hair sucked.
What? That's crazy talk.
That is crazy talk. How the hell are you?
What's crazy? You just missed a huge home run by Ramirez.
Which Ramirez are we talking about?
Augustine Ramirez.
Oh, for a second I thought you said Hanley. I thought you were going to say like Hanley Ramirez or something.
No,
like that.
no, Augustine Ramirez, and then we got a pop up and this Cal. Nope, that's gonna be out of play.
So the Mariners are leading 7-3. So what does this say here that the Mariners had a good week this week?
David had a really good week, with the exception on Friday. Logan Gilbert went down with an injury. Now he's on a 15-day.
Yikes! So who is tasked with taking the spot? Logan Evans.
Logan Evans did it. He just got out of the game. He pitched 5 full innings, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. So it's kind of one of those debuts where you can say he didn't pitch great, but he didn't pitch terrible either.
So now we have Colin Snyder, huh?
Colin Snyder, who just gave up the home run, the 1-1. Now here's a ground ball foul.
There's Miss Jen Mueller at the Ford Sports Desk. Miss Jen.
Yeah, we know you have a thing for her.
Listen, man, she was something about 10 years ago. Yeah, there was here's the thing. She had like a good, I want to say.
Now here's
like
a liner
years.
to left field, and that's going to be a base hit. And now you've got a man on first base, and you would think after this inning, Colin Snyder's not getting another inning after this.
I would probably assume so.
So your story.
Yeah, I'm just saying she had like a prime 10 years where she was like in her cute phase. When I met her, she was in that phase, and I hate to admit it. Like when I was around her, I had heart eyes. I was married, so I couldn't do anything. But that being said, I had major hard eyes for Jen Mueller there for a minute. But, now that 10 years have passed and I'm looking at her, I'm like, I can't believe that I actually found this woman attractive. She's got a killer body, though. She's got a killer body. Just saying.
That's going to be outside for a ball. That is Connor Norby.
Connor Norby. Okay, so I'm up at Matt Mervis.
Oh yeah, you're a long ways back.
Yeah, it's just
now here's a line drive, and that's going to be a base hit, and that's going to go right into the gap. This could be extra bases. Runner's going to go to third for sure, and that's going to be a double. So now Miami is continuing to threaten. I mean, we can say that Logan Evans was having a difficult time, but at least he held it to 2 runs and got out of some jams. Now Colin Snyder's having issues. Colin Snyder is not the Colin Snyder that we knew from last year.
No, he's it appears now, by the way, again, I really haven't seen a lot of the season, but it appears when I've seen Colin Snyder, he's leaving his pitches up. There's not a lot of bite to his slider, not a lot of bite to his fastball, not a lot of movement. And so when he pitches it high, it seems to be flat, and he seems to be getting crushed. So Mariners still have bullpen issues, man.
Yeah, we're not saying it's like 97, 98 bad, but it's definitely not. I would say it's even worse than last year. We said last year it had its issues.
All right, so let's go over the pantheon of bad bullpens. What do you think was the worst bullpen of the modern era? Now, okay, I go back to what I consider the modern era of Mariner baseball is 94 on. Prior to that, wasn't exactly the greatest. They were just shit teams to begin with. So that really
are we talking about worst bullpen in baseball history post 94?
Yeah,
this
post
Mariners history.
Mariners history post 94.
It's going to be either 97 or 98. And now the pitch inside for a ball, because those stuck out more than anything else.
Well, 97 got better when Mike Timlin and Spoljaric came over. Now, Spoljaric was hit or miss, but Timlin really filled the void, really filled a very big void down that stretch in 97. And it significantly helped that bullpen out.
98?
98, 99 wasn't really all that great either.
Ground ball to second base, and he's got it. Throw to first in time. And before we go over reminiscing about bad,
what about 2005? Because that was a horrible pitching staff.
But at least you had a closer at Guardado, though.
Yeah, but this was not prime Eddie Guardado. This was Mariners Eddie Guardado.
Yeah, I still think 98's the worst now to think about it.
95 was pretty bad, and then
except Charlton, and then Charlton magically got good.
Yeah, but when we got Charlton, it magically made everybody else in that bullpen way better. Nelson started pitching way better. Bill Risley started pitching incredibly well in the second half of 95. So, but at the beginning of 95, after the team came back from the strike, there was a 2-month stretch there where it really wasn't all that great. Ayala wasn't great. Who else was in that bullpen? Yeah, Riz got off to a slow start. They even had Lee Guterman in that bullpen for a little bit.
A 37-year-old Lee Guterman.
Yeah, Goots was in that bullpen. But then, it was weird. Norm Charlton comes over, he locks down the closers, and because he was in the closer's position and everybody was actually probably put back in the roles that they probably should have been, they actually started pitching a lot better. And I'm sorry, I cut you off there. I'm sorry.
You did. But what I was going to say before the commercial break is over, I was actually at an event yesterday with a friend of mine.
Do tell.
It was related to the anniversary of the fall of Saigon in Vietnam. This was a heavy Vietnamese event. I was invited. Good friend of mine from Vietnam invited me. A lot of remembrance of the soldiers, trauma stories of how everything went down, and some brought up a conspiracy between JFK and the president of South Vietnam, where both those assassinations arguably led to a very bloody war. Not going to say too much because YouTube will probably say, "Hey, cut that out. That wasn't true." But anyways, just wanted to, before we say anything, I just wanted to pay my respects to everyone that went through the fall of Saigon and were basically forced to leave the country and change their lifestyle because of many things that led to it. And now we got Julio Rodriguez up to the plate and the pitch, and that is low for a ball.
I had some family members that served tours in Vietnam in a war that they themselves acknowledged that they didn't want to have anything to do with. But that being said, they had no choice. And now that we've had decades,
outside for a ball, 2-0.
And now there are many YouTube channels now that talk about Vietnam in a matter of fact way. I think it's known fact that the Gulf of Tonkin was a false flag. The events that eventually led to the Vietnam War were fake, and it just seems that Mr. Lyndon Baines Johnson was hell bent on getting us into a war. And he was willing to eat the lie of the Gulf of Tonkin that put the U.S. into that war. But we never hear about the other side. We never hear about the Vietnamese people that were caught in essentially what it is, a firefight. And not a lot has ever been spoken about several families that were broken apart. And then, of course, you have the refugees from that war that some of them made them over to the United States as well too. But it's because of the fall of Saigon, which is now Ho Chi Minh City, that the Vietnamese actually do have a intolerable hatred for the United States.
Oh, the United States.
And the United States.
And understandably so, because of how
Sure.
everything was so mishandled. Just like the Korean War, where it was mishandled in the middle of it, and that also had a lot of political controversy that
Sure.
I still hold a grudge on behalf of my grandparents. And now here's Jorge Polanco, now the pitch, and that is a ball. Only reason I brought it up because I wasn't sure if I'm going to have a show before the actual anniversary of Fall of Saigon, which is April 30th of 1975. And now here is Polo, and we're at the next pitch, the pitch. Now here's a liner to right field, and that is a foul ball. But prior to
go ahead. Sorry about that. Go ahead. Prior
to this at bat, Polo's been on fire. He not only did,
I know, I've heard.
Yeah, he's drove in 2 runs, and they were both with 2 outs, and he is 5 of 7 with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. So he is the most clutch player on the Mariners right now.
Have you ever noticed there's a difference in his swing this year than compared to last year? It seems like his swing is level through the contact zone. It looks like he's actually putting some power behind that pull bat.
Now we're at 1-2. The pitch.
Nice to see.
Oh, and that hit him, and that's gonna get him to take the base. Hopefully, he's okay. Josh, I see where you're coming from. I know that's a popular comment, but it's actually. Reason why that whole thing with China was a thing was because Truman was frustrating. It was more of like a bluffing thing, but the real story was he was actually asking for weapons and supplies and troops to offset China. But then Truman was like, he just gave him the bird, and then that's where MacArthur said, "Well, I'm going to drop the bomb on China just to say F you," and then that's where Truman says, "You're fired." So it was like a back and forth exchange.
My grandfather served in the Navy throughout Korea. Rarely talked about his time in Korea, understandably so. My father-in-law, who I have a profound respect for, served 4 tours in Vietnam, and again, rarely talks about it. But he goes on to say that there were more moments where some of his friends ended up doing things in the heat of war that you're never able to live down. And I just assumed that it had something to do with locals in Vietnamese villages that they patrol.
1-1, and that's going to be a foul ball.
That also, that Vietnam War also led to the rise of opiate use throughout GIs, and which ended up leaking through to the United States, and that whole Vietnam experience was such a profound turning point.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, down goes Cal Raleigh. Now we got 2 outs. And then Josh says China was the reason why it was a stalemate. Yeah, of course it was, because America was literally a week away from ending that war. And then China just out of nowhere just went kaboom. And that pushed them all the way back to the point they lost Seoul. And it was exchanged about 6 times throughout that war.
Mm.
And now here's Randy Rosarena. And now the pitch. And that was a strike. And I'm very thankful that my friend invited me to this event, because I actually learned some things. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that kind of feeling.
Yeah. Well, but also it's, thank your lucky stars that the Korean conflict turned out the way it did, or I don't think we would have today's Seoul, South Korea.
No, we wouldn't have Samsung. I wouldn't be here. I would be in Korea. Maybe would have escaped. I don't know. But I am still thankful to this day that America decided to land on Incheon in September of 1950. And that changed the course of the war. 0-2. And the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. That's going to retire the side. And Miami's bullpen is getting off pretty easy. And we go to the top of the 7th. 7-3.
The recently I was happened to see a drone footage of the North Korea's biggest city. It's where their palace is at, Pyeongchang or
Pyongyang.
Yeah, Pyongyang. And the interesting thing about that city is that from drone footage, and it wasn't a long drone shot. It was maybe 2 minutes. Because they were flying an unauthorized drone in North Korean airspace. So, I mean, they were lucky that it didn't get shot down, or maybe it did get shot down, and they were able to transfer footage before everything happened. But you look at the city, and I don't know if this is something that is relative to North Korea, but the one thing I didn't see on the streets of North Korea were people mingling about. Streets were empty, but also I don't think I've ever seen a major city that clean before. You know what I mean? I hear Moscow is exceptionally clean as well too. Like, they really take care of their city. And I have no idea if I don't know if that is something that is a North Korean tradition of cleanliness, but or maybe it's just because there's not a lot of people walking the streets.
I think it's a mixture of not a lot of
that is a
people,
clean city.
and the government basically puts a gun to your face to make sure you're keeping it clean too. Like, there's soldiers everywhere, and if you screw it up, if you accidentally throw a piece of plastic and you drop it, even if it goes oopsie, you'll be held accountable immediately.
Do you know anybody that grew up in North Korea that escaped, or
my grandfather and grandmother escaped during the war, so I don't know anyone of my family that escaped during the post-war, because we all know the post-war escaping North Korea is impossible practically, and it got even tougher after COVID somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they have the DMZ right there, the demilitarized zone that separates both borders. But the crazy thing though is that every once in a while you'll see a YouTube video of somebody in North Korea that was able to escape.
Yeah, now the pitch. Now here's a line drive, and that's going to be a base hit as we got Gabe Spire up on the mound, and it seems that the Mariners bullpen struggles continues, which is why, I mean, it's not a surprise that we're already on our second bullpen pitcher, because Logan Evans was only able to do so much on his debut. He didn't do the Bryce Miller start, so this is where we're at.
Yeah,
and now we got Xavier Edwards.
And the way that this one lady who was interviewed on a YouTube clip who escaped North Korea essentially said that because the government has their hands on every form of industry in North Korea, you're either a farmer raising crops to help feed the population, or you're some way involved in the government, whether it's military or something along those lines. There's like no in between.
0-1, and that is a strike. And apparently,
unless you come from a family that has money, where they send you to a trade school in North Korea where you can become like a nurse or something like that. But that being said, it's like, there's a very huge line between people that grew up in poverty versus people that grew up in somewhat wealthy families over there. It's weird. It's a weird dichotomy.
It's a very weird story that Most are never going to understand that. I'm still trying to dig up on things about North Korea. And I still don't get it. The pitch. Now here's a fly ball to right field, and Luke Raley is there, and he makes the catch.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Josh said this makes me think of story years ago, back in the 2018 with Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, the news agency pronounced Pyeongchang PF Chang.
I've ate PF Chang's before. I just can't do it. Like, if you're gonna eat a Chinese, no, you gotta eat a real authentic Chinese restaurant, which I did before the Mariners game in International District, I'm sorry, I mean Chinatown, the pitch, and that's a strike. It was called Tai Tung in the International District. Like, their fried chicken was excellent. Their chow mein was so good. Like, I was like in awe. And I actually do have a clip. I actually have some videos. I took a video because I'm going to make a video someday. 01. And that's a ball. It's going to be like, if you want an alternative to concessions, check out this place in the International District. So I'm going to try to help some small business in that Chinatown.
Nice.
Get something going.
So there was a place in North Seattle, actually it was more like Lake Forest Park, right off the Ballinger Way. It was called Red Moon. And it was ran by a family of Chinese immigrants. And it was literally just authentic Szechuan. And it was some of the best Chinese food I've ever had. Like, nothing really even compares, except for Little Shanghai. Little Shanghai.
That is strike 3. And that's 2 outs. Where is that place still around, or did they close?
Little Shanghai?
Little Shanghai, or the other Red Moon, or whatever it's called.
Red Moon. I have no idea if they're closed or not, but this was back in 2010, 11. And I lived right around the corner from it. And that food was just unbelievable. And like you said, it's like sometimes what I'll do is I'll start with like basic dishes, like, a lo mein or like a beef and broccoli, just to kind of taste it. And, their food was just absolutely fire. And then you just get deep into their menu. It's some of the best food I've ever had. The only place that was similar was Little Shanghai, which was right off of Broadway, I think. On Capitol Hill, it was right above the QFC right there on the corner of Pike and Broadway.
And now they're gone.
Yeah, Little Shanghai was actually legit, man.
Just can't go to Capitol Hill anymore. The area just doesn't fit with me very well.
I used to live on Capitol Hill, 14th and Union, and when I was 24, and it was a jumping place, man. It was awesome. Now here's the thing, right? Like when you think of Capitol Hill, obviously you think of the alternative lifestyle, because that's always been Capitol Hill was always like the weird area of Seattle. But
swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's gonna retire the side. And before we do the Capital One, it's gonna be God Bless America, because it's Sunday afternoon.
I'll let you handle this one.
Well, of course. And they're not doing it. Never mind. Back straight to take me out to the ball game.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll do this and the Louie. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, so let's
root. Root for the Mariners.
If they don't win, it's a shame. It would be a shame because they're up 7-3. 4, it's 1, 2, 3 strikes.
3 strikes, you're out at the old
ball game. Oh no!
We gotta go.
Yeah. Hello. Oh, baby, said we gotta go. Sad thing though.
My little girl is waiting.
When I was at the game on Friday at the 7th inning stretch, they put that song into the 2020s, and it was awful.
What do you mean they put it into the 2020s?
They made it all techno geeky kind of sounds. It was really bad.
Like they made Louie like house music?
They modernized it.
Oh, hell no.
I know. I was disgusted.
Don't fix something that never was broke. Jesus, these people are just tryhards, man. So that actually just kind of makes me mad. Like you don't
mess with Louie.
yeah, it's like remaking classic movies that you had no business remaking. So yeah, like it was cool back in the day on Broadway. Everybody knew everybody, even if you weren't hanging out in circles. What was cool part about it was all the uni kids from the University of Washington that were like a mile down the street at the U would flood into Capitol Hill. And at that point I was still working as a chef, and so I would work 50, 60 hours a week, and I would party 50, 60 hours a week. And it was just a cool spot. It was a cool vibed out spot to be at. And then I left in 2008, and within 4 years, Broadway had gone over a facelift because a whole bunch of corporate entities moved into Broadway and reshaped the entire area of Broadway. Plus, they put the train station up there. But then I just kept hearing that you would have shootings and stabbings at Cal Anderson Park. It seemed like every single weekend, and it became a place where, it became a little unsafe. And then, of course, you had the whole Chaz Chop thing, which was ridiculous. And now it's just like it feels like it's like a militant zone now. I'm like, oh, okay, so the vibes aren't great anymore on Capitol Hill. It's too bad.
Some restaurants are leaving, and they continue to leave.
Yeah.
And now the pitch to Raleigh. And Seattle just suffered another casualty. Another Chinese restaurant is closing from the International District. So
Which one?
I think it was called Shanghai Garden.
Wasn't that place there for forever?
Yeah, it had to be. Yeah, Shanghai Garden is closing by the end of May. Now the pitch. Now I better go. I don't know.
Why are they closing?
Probably because of the
too expensive. Probably rent's probably crazy.
Well, and labor cost has gone up again. So it's like the business just can't operate anymore.
Right. So did Seattle raise their minimum wage again?
It's 21.
Oh yeah, that's insanity, and that's still not enough to live in Seattle. By the way,
no, not even close. Like your $7 back then, and back in like 2008, is more valuable than your. It's more valuable than your It's more valuable than your $21 today, which is scary thought. Now the 1-2.
Sure.
And that just plunked Luke Raley, and he takes it to first base.
The crazy thing is, like, back in the day, you were able to rent an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment on Capitol Hill. It might have been like $1,700, $1,800, but you could have a roommate, and it was the cost of your rent was $800, $900. Which was still, even back then, was a little steep. But that being said, you were able to make it work. And you were making, I don't know, $14, $15 an hour, and you were able to pay your rent. You still had enough to go party on a Friday night, right? It was doable.
Yeah. And
now
you can't do anything.
Yeah. Now rents are like $3,000. And
$3,000 for a freaking studio.
It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like the only people that are going to be able to rent that are, single cats in the tech industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, are making like $80K a year, you might be able to get away with it. But
even $80K can't really do much in this city anymore.
True.
You have to be 6 figures just to maybe live comfortably. As we got JP Crawford up to the plate.
Because of that, it ballooned out to the suburbs. And like now it's expensive to live in Puyallup. Now it's expensive to live in my hometown of Federal Way. It's expensive even on the north end as you go past Lake Forest Park and what's it called? Northgate. And as you're going up the I-5 corridor, up by 5, it's ridiculous. Now, my father-in-law owns a property up in Lake Forest Park, and he literally had it appraised. And because the light rail is going through now,
and that's a strike. 3-1 for Crawford, by the way.
Because the light rail is now going through that area, it almost quadrupled his property value. And now his little 2-bedroom house that was in that area is now worth over $500,000. And you're just like, dude.
3-1. And ball 4, take your base as Crawford goes for the walk. And very quietly speaking, he just walked. And quietly speaking, Crawford has actually been one of the best hitters in the past week. Now his batting average is at 277.
Ooh.
He's actually been very efficient in this past week or two. And now we've got Donovan Solano, who was actually 1 for 3. He actually hit a double, and I gave him a slow clap for it.
That's funny. You could go live over by the North Cascades National Park. Yeah, I lived in Granite Falls for quite a long time. So I lived in the foothills of the Mount Baker National Forest. It was awesome, but
One
it eventually
for
got
another
expensive.
pitch. And that is a strike. Basically, everywhere you go is expensive. You can go to Arizona. You can go to a place out of the middle of nowhere. It's going to be well above of what you would like to pay for.
No, the property taxes in King County are some of the nation's highest. Josh.
It is, and it's continuing to go up. And we're at 0-1. And now the pitch. And it's so much for a state that promotes like live outside of your family, abandon them, and yet they're putting us in a position where cost of living is so high that we have to go multi-generational. So if anything, what Seattle is doing is quietly conservative, if you know what I mean. There's now, in a way, they're forcing people to live multi-generational. So technically, you're keeping families together
while trying to break them apart. the funny
you're
thing,
you're trying to break them apart by keeping them together and then trying to break them apart at the same time.
The crazy thing is there's a reason why there's been a mass exodus from the state of California. It's the same reason why there's been a mass exodus from the state of Washington. I was
And New
one
York.
of many. I was one of many that decided to leave the state of Washington.
And we're looking at 1-2, and the pitch. And now here's a fly ball to really. That you hyped the. He's out. It was a nice little pop up. I got duped again. I pulled a Dave Sims.
Fly ball, hello. God.
You know, Dave Niehaus literally did that on Ken Griffey Jr.'s first Safeco Field at bat. He's like, here's a swung and a high fly ball hit. Hit the.
Oh, and because Donovan Solano went into his home run trot.
He did. That's why I got fooled. At least he's hitting the ball hard, I guess. Now here's Miles Mastrobuoni batting .238. Now the pitch. He has definitely cooled off a bit.
Yeah, San Francisco actually has the highest property tax rate in the country.
Texas surprisingly is higher than Washington, which I'm really shocked by that.
It depends on where in Texas.
True. The pitch.
Right.
Swing and a miss. I mean, if it's Austin, that makes sense.
Yeah, and Dallas actually is pretty expensive. But that being said, you go into West Texas, like out by Lubbock, and anywhere in the best part of Texas, you're able to live quite nicely. But that being said, it's like
1-1.
Where are you going to work?
And it's going to be 2-1. I know. I mean, if it wasn't for the friends I have, the family I've got, and the people that I'm working with, if it wasn't for any of those components, I would not be in this state myself.
Yeah.
Because we're at 2-1.
Well, you still could. You still very much could if you
2-1
wanted to strike out on your own.
And that's going to be a foul ball, strike 2.
I was lucky because I had family out here in Michigan. My dad lives out here. My sister and my brother-in-law live out here. So the transition was rather smooth. So it made it a little bit easier. But I actually came to like Michigan. Blue collar people, very good sense of community out here in Flint.
2-2 outside for a ball. Yeah, most of my family are like California, one in New York, one in Georgia. So for me, I don't really have
California.
There's not really much options for me if I wanted to.
You
to
could
have
go
an
to
exodus.
Georgia. You could go to Georgia.
Don't have the interest though of Georgia though, as we're at
Georgia.
3-2. The pitch. Now here's a fly ball to left field, and that's gonna be caught. As we got runners on first and second, by the way.
The cool part about moving to a different state by yourself is the fact that you're striking it out on your own, and that the adventure of making new friends and developing a new circle. That was actually kind of the nice part about Michigan. So, I had family, but that being said, it was I made some pretty decent friends out here, but for the most part, like my best friends are still my family members. So, yeah.
There we go. Now the pitch
I
to
understand
Leo
why you stay.
Rivas, and that is a
understand why you
strike.
stay. Family is definitely important.
And part of it is also due to my heavy involvement with the Special Olympics athletes. That makes it really hard to leave too.
Yeah, you do a lot of good work when it comes to charity.
Pitch.
You do a very good job.
And as outside, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that is one of the many redeeming qualities of why I enjoy doing this with you. You're actually a pretty good dude, man.
I appreciate that. Along with you, and we are at 1-1 for Rivas. The pitch, it's big, swing and a miss, and that is strike 2.
I'm just a South King County, shit kicker, born and raised in the streets of Federal Way. Granted, that was 40 years ago now, but yeah.
1-2. Outside for a ball that nearly got away. I mean, I was so passionate about the Special Olympics that when we found out that we were drawn into a team of cheaters, I literally got our entire team kicked out of the lobby because I was literally going on this. I kind of went on a Dave Softy Mahler-esque rant about it. And the 2-2. Now here's a fly ball to deep left center field, but that's not going to be enough. And he makes the catch, and that's going to retire the side. Now, given that the Mariners offense has actually been scoring these runs in the last 3 days, especially in T-Mobile Park, can this put the argument to bed that it has nothing to do with offensive suppressions or ballpark suppressions?
No, because we're getting out of April now into the sunny confines of May, so the marine layer has dissipated, and that's why we're swinging the bats now, because we're at that little convergence where the marine layer of April fades into the light air of the summer in the Puget Sound area. No, yeah, that's funny.
I gotta do a little prankster tweet for Mr. Luke Arkins, who is one of the orchestrators of that whole
hoax.
He's all about that whole ballpark suppression. So I'm gonna go about that T-Mobile Park
marine layer nonsense.
Marine layer issue.
They were who we thought they were.
And Luke's would be like, well, he's gonna come up with all these stats and blah blah blah. Like, don't get me wrong, I respect it.
When we have the northwest currents moving from 10 to 15 miles an hour from the south-southeast, it creates a convergence right over T-Mobile Park. And when the ball hits the air, it literally just dies. But once April is over with, that's come on, man.
And the Mariners are still hanging around.
You're not a meteorologist or a marine I don't even think it would be a marine biologist, but like an atmosphere scientist to even comment on whether or not there's a marine layer.
Yeah.
No, it's because our team is shitty and you're running cover for our shitty team instead of just saying it like it is. Like, there is a talent discrepancy within this baseball team and they don't start well. You could just say that and be like, yeah, okay, that's it. But no, it's a marine layer and it's the hitting eye. It's the Safeco. It's the T-Mobile park fences that are too far. Or maybe it's because these cats can't hit a fastball. I don't know. Maybe I'm just spitballing here.
That is a strike as Trent Thornton comes in. Or how about the fact that Jared Apoto still assumes that we're in the Kingdom? That's how he builds this offense. Mm-hmm. And now the 0-1. Now, don't get me wrong. If Julio was in the Kingdom, he'd probably hit like 50 home runs by now.
And then the marine layer comes back, and baseballs will go back to sinking like Shedeur Sanders in the draft. Oh, burn!
Shedeur Sanders really dropped, and he went to the Cleveland Browns. Of course, the Browns took him.
Of course, I'm not hating the fact that he's in Cleveland. I do believe that they can develop a quarterback.
1-2. Can they though?
Deshaun Watson notwithstanding, they developed Baker Mayfield and took him to the playoffs.
They should have never gave up on Baker Mayfield. I was violently against it. The pitch as a second favorite team, the Cleveland Browns. When they did that, I was like, you know what? They just went from the lovable losers, and people really love them. And now they're still my second favorite team. And then it turned into they deserve everything they get because of that move.
So I heard that it was a bias against Shedeur Sanders and that it might, racism might have played a role.
But Cam Ward was drafted number 1 overall.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing, right? And it was because it's like, listen, man, your dad handled every aspect of your career all the way up through college. And there was a dude who wrote a really good piece for Yahoo Sports and said that Shedeur Sanders didn't have had one pro day, only worked out with one team. And when he worked out with the Giants, he wasn't prepared. He was arrogant in team meetings, and he came across as somebody that a lot of teams didn't want to work with, and so because of it, he fell. He fell.
And fell to Cleveland out of all teams.
I just think that I think that that's the rub. It's that he decided to try to take his pre-draft evaluation into his own hands, and there's some people that can because they don't want to get overexposed. Understood, but then there's tweeners like Shedeur Sanders who kind of need to put himself.
3-2. Now here's a ground ball off the glove, and I think that's gonna be no play. Throw to first, and that is not in time. But it was a great effort by Mastroboni, and that's gonna be. Man on first.
There are prospects like Shedeur who probably should put himself out there just to make it like that's the thing. It's like when you're a questionable prospect to begin with. You gotta sell yourself.
It's not reviewable. Donovan Solano dropped it.
It's not as bad as
have been out.
It wasn't as bad as Aaron Rodgers, but that was a pretty bad fall. But that being said, this was an epic fall.
The pitch, ground ball fell.
How did the Seahawks do the draft?
They drafted Alabama's quarterback in the 3rd round.
Okay. What was his name again?
Jalen Milroe, I think.
Jalen Milroe. Okay. What? Who was their first rounder?
It was an offensive lineman out of North Dakota.
That's bad. No, it's okay. As long as they're prioritizing it, I don't give a shit where he goes to college. But okay, so they drafted.
As long as it's not Tony Mandridge.
I heard some draft experts say that the Seahawks had an A draft. They graded it out as an A. So
I miss the good old days when they were given F drafts for their 2010 to 2012. That's when they were given F drafts, and they proved them wrong. We're like 0-2 for Stowers, and now the pitch. And now here's a broken back blooper, and that is going to drop in for a base hit. And the Mariners bullpen struggle continues as we got runners on first and second.
The Lions took Tyleik Williams of Ohio State. They took Tate Radulich, Isaac Tesla, Miles Frazier, Ahmed. I don't know who these people are, but okay, good for you, Detroit.
It's 2 outs. No, not even 2 outs. Not even 1 out. It's actually no outs with a runner on first and second. If the Mariners aren't careful, Miami can really come back because it's not like they have a horrible offense. They still have an offense that is still hanging in the top 15.
All right. So the Seahawks took Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State.
And the pitch.
And Nick.
That's a ball.
Imanwari out of South Carolina. They took Elisha Arroyo. There's Jalen Milroe. Then you have Riley Mills from Notre Dame. I know who that is. Troy Horton. Know who he is from Colorado State. Robbie Outs of Alabama.
1-0.
Bryce.
Swing and a miss, strike one.
Cavaldu. Damian Martinez. Mason Richmond and Ricky White. Okay. Don't know who those people are, but congratulations, Seahawks. You've got a quarterback.
1-1. Now here's a ground ball foul. It's a pretty good assurance policy when you have someone when you're drafting a quarterback in the draft, because we all know what Drew Lock already is, and Sam Darnold is no guarantee that he's going to do the same thing in Seattle as he did with Minnesota. So it's always good to be open with different options.
Well, but also, you can have success with quarterbacks in the 3rd round. Obviously, Russell Wilson comes to mind. But that being said, it's not like the old days where your 3rd round pick was generally a bench option
for a ball.
Usually these picks all the way until like the 3rd round are actually tabbed as starters. So we'll see. Josh says, and do we think Cleveland basically fleeced Jacksonville, who really wanted Travis? Cleveland got several picks and fell back like 3 spots while also getting a 1st rounder for next year.
Wow.
Seems like they did.
It seems like it. Seems like Cleveland did something right.
Well, they traded up with Seattle to pick Shedeur.
And
so Seattle got a couple of conditional draft picks.
As now we're at 3-2 for Mervis.
I always just think that regardless whoever the quarterback is in Seattle, it's like without a competent offensive line, it doesn't matter.
is where. But granted, Geno Smith, even with a good offensive line, I doubt that it would have made a difference.
Gino's about to go ball out with Uncle Pete down in LP.
Raiders 3-2, and that's a foul ball. But with the Geno Smith, he actually made himself he kind of made himself more unlikable to me, as if he already was, when he said that he felt disrespected by the Seahawks on how they handled contract negotiations. It was like, if anything, the contract offer he got, and he was overpaid because he would have been paid more than Baker Mayfield, who takes in the playoffs, the 3-2. Now here's a fly ball foul. So I think that showed a lot of narcissism on his end, and that's could be a foul ball fair.
I just think that
foul ball.
It's a guy like Geno Smith who's feeling himself just a little too much, and not having the wherewithal to understand that he's Geno Smith.
If anything, the Seahawks did him a favor by even giving him a chance.
3-2,
and they gave him a contract that we got a swing and a miss, strike 3. Now we got one out,
and he was fine. Like he was a good, serviceable starting quarterback, but he's not going to take you to a Super Bowl.
No, of course not. I didn't think he was Super Bowl material. He was a great backup. I mean, don't get me wrong. Kudos to Geno Smith for being able to rebound his career, because he was more remembered for his failed Jets days and getting into a fight all over $10 or something like that. And now the pitch. Now here's a fly ball to left field. Forget about that one. That is a home run for Norby, and the Mariners are now fighting with just a 1-0 lead. That was Connor Norby with a 3-run home run to make it 7-6.
Off glasses again, man. Trent Thornton
continues to make it nervous. That this bullpen is really pulling a 97-98.
Oh, dude, that ball was middle in. And Norby just got it all. First pitch, swinging fastball, little cut fastball that just stays in the just out of the outer half of. Oh God, Jesus Christ, that ball was crushed. Just hope the Texans can get past the second round of the playoffs. Good luck with that.
They still have yet to make it to the AFC Championship game, but now we've got a brand new ball game, and we really got to hope that the Mariners can hold it together, as we got Hicks up to the plate. It's going to be 0-1.
Who's their quarterback again?
And that is a fly ball to center field, but Julio's going to be there, and he makes the catch. The quarterback for the Texans is C.J. Stroud, who had a fantastic rookie year.
Yeah, that's right. C.J. Stroud. Yeah, okay.
That's one of the quarterbacks I wanted Seahawks to be tanking for in the 2022 season. Or Bryce Young at the time. Or they could have tanked for Jaden Daniels. And the thing was, I did not blame DK Metcalf for wanting out because he didn't want to work with Geno Smith. I didn't blame him one bit. Sure, he's a hothead, but couldn't blame him for it.
It would have been nice nice
ball
to have
to right field as Luke Raley is there, and he makes the catch.
Nice to have DK.
It would. I mean, for Sam Darnold,
that would have been nice. But I like Seattle's wide receiving room as it is anyway. Pretty
Cooper
good room.
Kupp, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, but they don't have a big guy.
They don't have a big guy.
So they're relying on slot. They're relying on mostly slot receivers.
They don't have a Daryl Jackson. They don't have a who was the
Joe Jaravicious.
Joe who was Seattle's WR1 in Russell's first year.
Golden Tate or Sidney Rice.
Yeah, there you go. They don't have a big body like Sidney Rice, and then it was. And then after Sidney Rice, who it was Tyler Lockett and Baldwin. Yeah, okay.
Baldwin was a good one too. That guy did it with pure hard work, and he worked on his running routes.
Yeah, Baldwin was a stud, man. Probably will go down as one. I guarantee you he gets inducted to the Ring of Honor, and I probably would assume that he'll go down as one of the Seahawks' better wide receivers in franchise history.
Do you think he has the edge on Largent? I still think Largent's still the head.
No, nobody has that. Nobody has even touched Steve Largent yet. You know who I actually thought could have, had he stayed healthy and stayed in Seattle long enough, was, did you remember Brian Blades?
I was gonna guess Brian Blades for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Brian Blades actually was legit. But he kept getting hurt, and then he eventually forced his way out of Seattle. So it is what it is. But yeah, Steve Largent, Hall of Famer. His numbers are what they are. And to this day, you know what's funny is if DK Metcalf would have stayed and played 8 years in Seattle, and eventually he would have gotten the numbers that he envisions himself getting, he probably could have had a shot. DK is actually is a special talent.
He was going to be there, but he was still a very boomer bust receiver, whether he had Wilson or whether he had Geno Smith.
I will say that if the Texans had taken a chance on Peyton Manning after his injury, we would have won at least one, maybe two Super Bowls, as we had a great team in every part except for quarterback.
And that is a ball. And this game is very intense. It turned into a very close ball game thanks to the bullpen. 1-0.
And it was home dude.
The pitch outside for a ball.
Before Spire, it was when I came on, it was
Colin Snyder. Colin Snyder
who gave, Colin Snyder gave up a ding dong
2-0. And that is a strike. Yep.
Gives up the big 3-run bomb. And so this game that was 7-2, 7-3 is now 7-6. So Mariners are going to need to get some insurance here, man. Yeah, maybe they should dial up Safeco and get some insurance.
2-1. Now here's a fly ball to left field, but that's going to be caught by the left fielder, and that's going to make the catch. And now we've got Polo up to the plate. Jorge Polanco, arguably the best hitter on the Mariners right now.
You know what's funny is Julio gets ahead 2-0, then he gets a fastball right in his sweet spot, and he just takes it for a strike.
That seems like a Julio thing. Polo is now batting 368 with 7 home runs and 20 RBIs. Like, that's practically MVP numbers-esque. And now here's Julio. The pitch. Like, the fact that Dylan Moore is outplaying Julio is embarrassing. He should be embarrassed by that. The fact that Leo Rivas is hitting more efficiently than Julio Rodriguez is embarrassing.
That is embarrassing. You know, but it's funny because the pitch that he was looking for, he takes for a strike, and then he absolutely reaches for just a garbage pitch. He reaches for a garbage pitch, and instead of potentially getting himself on base by hitting a fastball, he flies out weakly to left field. Ugh, it's terrible.
It's really painful to watch Julio Rodriguez. And then somehow he has one accident week that ups his batting average somehow magically, the 0-2. And that batting average that he ends up hitting up to, it makes people forget how much he struggled in the first 5 months of the season because he has one accident week.
How has his week been this week?
Oh, he's been terrible.
And because during that era, we had D-Hop and Andre Johnson at the end of his career and a number 1 defense.
Ground ball foul. And you had Arian Foster as your running back in his prime.
You know, now that I think about it, you're probably right. But you know, the question is would Texas roll out the red carpet for Peyton, and would Peyton even want to go down to Houston?
And what would they have done with Matt Schaub? They would have tried to trade him. As we're at 0-2. The pitch. Now here's a liner to right field, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. Could be extra bases. Jorge Polanco is running the second base, and now we got a runner in scoring position on another double by Jorge Polanco. He's actually been contributing well for this team, considering that he is limited on being a platoon hitter.
Hey, as long as he's hitting, man.
Yeah, as long as he's hitting.
Nice pitch. Yeah, that was the little slider on the inside corner, and he just ropes it down the right field line. Good for Jorge. Maybe Jerry was right about Jorge.
Yeah, that little we saw that video on the smartphone. And now here's big dumper Cal Raleigh up to the plate. Now the pitch, low for a ball that kind of nearly got away, but the catcher was able to stop it. And now that's going to be a 1-0 count on the big dumper.
Didn't Matt Schaub have like one good season with Houston? Like, wasn't he supposed to be like that next big thing after like one good season?
Yeah, something like that. 2012, he had a good season. I think it was like 2009 had a great season, and then he disappeared after 2012. And now the 1-0. And now here's popped up, and that's not going to do anything.
Reminds me of Matt Flynn.
Matt Flynn was supposed to be that Matt Hasselbeck guy, but they were like, nah, let's just get Wilson.
I remember Matt Flynn had the game of all games, the last game of the season, the year before he came to Seattle, and I think Aaron Rodgers,
80 yards, 6 touchdowns.
yeah, it was something just unreal. He had a game of all games that got him that contract in Seattle.
I mean, it helps a lot when you had a great line, Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, James Jones, the pitch, foul ball.
Yeah,
And one of his touchdowns, all he had to do was have a nice little toss to Ryan. Forgot his name already. It was someone.
Ryan Smith and Jigaba.
No, but it was like a little dinky pass, and it was like an 80-yarder touchdown.
Yeah.
And Detroit
No, I remember.
Yeah, 0-1.
I remember that game against Detroit. And I remember when he signed with the Seahawks. Seahawks fans went crazy. They're like, "Oh my God, we got the next big thing!" And then 3 weeks later, oh, Russell Wilson is the next big, the next big thing.
Oh, sorry, Tavares. Bye.
Yeah.
0-2 for, and he's dead now, unfortunately.
Is he really?
Yeah, he died in a car crash.
Oh, that's too bad, man.
0-2, and that's gonna be a foul ball. And the Mariners absolutely need insurance runs if you don't want to go into the ninth inning, even with Andres Munoz. But knowing that Miami actually does have talented bats, you still want to get insurance runs for Andres Munoz because yes,
it's Mooney though. It's Mooney.
He has a 0 ERA, but at some point that's gonna crack. As now we're at 0-2 for Randy Rosarena, and the pitch.
He's fouling off hittable pitches too. This by the way, this reliever Phillips, this is exactly great. He's leaving pitches in the zone. That Rosarena, this last pitch that he flailed off for a foul actually was his pitch.
As we're at 0-2 for Randy Rosarena.
Come on, Randy.
You got to do something.
Randy. Pose for me, Randy.
0-2.
Okay, how about Jesus, Randy?
You got to get something good going. At least a ball in the gap. You can get Polo in there.
Show me something
pitch.
Good.
And popped up, and that's going to do it for this inning. And he's going to be there, and he makes the catch, and he's going to retire the side. And we are going to go into the top of the ninth inning with Andres Munoz. It's going to be up to him to complete this game. And just a heads up, right after this game, I got to actually end the show so I can head over to the job. Give me time for the job, that is. Just one more inning to go, and I wonder who the next three are going to be. Forgot who's going to be up. It was Norby hit the home run, and Lopez. I think it's going to be either Xavier Edwards or Sanchez. You could have been what Texas did when Watson left. They actually did a sale where you get 44% off. I bought my Marshawn Lynch jersey right after he retired, and his price got knocked down by like $50, so that was nice. That's probably the best jersey I've ever bought. I have a Wilson jersey I got for free somehow. I don't know how. I have an old Matt Hasselbeck jersey that I bought right after he was cut from the Seahawks.
Yeah, so you went discount shopping.
I actually was one of the proponents of cutting Matt Hasselbeck because I actually was ready for that rebuilding. I was ready to go young.
Matt ended up being a fan favorite after being absolutely torn down in his rookie year. I remember that. It was like 2001. The Seahawks were playing in Seahawks Stadium, and he was just this young quarterback from Green Bay. Mike Holmgren had put him in and just said, the ball is yours, and he struggled. And that's when Trent Dilfer came off the bench to resurrect the season, and I think we got to 9-7 and barely missed out.
9-7 in Husky Stadium, and then 2002 they were at 4-9, and they won 3 in a row to make it 7-9.
Yeah, they Trent Dilfer started the season, and then I think he had like an Achilles injury or something, and he was out for the year, and Matt Hasselbeck stepped in. And I remember the game down in Dallas. They played, and fucking Hasselbeck went off. Like all of
Yeah.
a sudden, he looked like a different quarterback. And then I remember the game in San Francisco that year too. He threw for 400 and some odd yards and 4 touchdowns. He lit up the 49ers that day too. And I was like,
Jeff
oh, okay.
Garcia's Niners too.
I was like, oh, okay. And
now we
the
got
rest is
Xavier
history.
Edwards, the pitch, and that is a strike. But too
But I
bad he is most
remember-
remembered for is we want the ball, we're gonna score.
Nah, I don't think he's remembered for that.
I remember him for that.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is that, but I always thought it was just a confident dude. But I remember the game in San Francisco. It might have been 2006. He was running down by the goal line.
And the pitch.
He gets hit.
Strike 3, swing and a miss, and now we've got 1 out.
And I remember he was hit from behind, and he had a dislocated rib, and he still played on it. And he had like the next week he's wearing a flak jacket, and I was like, God damn! I was like, dude's playing on a dislocated rib. That dude ended up being a warrior.
He tried everything he could with
Mm-hmm.
the Seahawks, and now we got Sanchez up to the bat. He is 0 for 3, and now the pitch, swing and a miss. I hit the dirt, nasty splitter by Andres Munoz. And the Mariners are just hoping to hang on so they can take another series, win another series. That would be, I lost count at this point how many series they've won in a row,
4.
which is a good problem to have.
4 maybe.
And the pitch. Now here's a ground ball right to second base, the toss over the first, and that is in time. And now the Marlins are down to their final out. So first it was Houston,
You
then it
were
was
about
Texas.
to say Mariners. You were about to say the Mariners.
First
You had
it
to hold
was,
yourself and said Marlins.
it was Texas. No, it was Houston, then Texas, Cincinnati, Toronto,
Good ball right there.
Boston, and it could
Defense.
be. But Ramirez is up to the plate, who has already hit 2 home runs today. Now the pitch, and that is up outside for a ball. You got all the fans standing, and what would be more disappointing is if Augustine Ramirez hits a home run. That would make 3 home runs in the game. What are the odds of that? I don't know, but we're at 1-0 for Augustine Ramirez. The pitch, and that is inside, and that got away.
Santiago Ramirez.
And checking the scores all around, Giants are up 3. Giants won 3-2. So if the Mariners win today, they'll be up a game on the Texas Rangers in the division. Now we're at 2-0. The pitch, and that is a strike this time, and that is going to be a 2-1 count.
Ooh, that gets away from him.
The Moose is rallying the fans to get behind it. Now we're at 2-1. And now the pitch. And now here's a ground ball right to second base. This should do it. The throw to first, and that is in time. And the ball game is over. Andres Munoz pitched an easy 1-2-3 inning. And not only did the Mariners win, but the Texas Rangers lost. So now the Mariners gained the game, and they have the lead. And you can thank Cal Raleigh, Jorge Polanco, a decent start out of Logan Evans, and the fact that Andres Munoz was able to hold them.
You can put it on the scoreboard. Yes, the Mariners win. The Mariners win.
My, oh my, holy smokes. Bombs away. That was Aaron Goldsmith.
I believe in baseball over the wall.
The
so
impossible has happened. Go crazy. Go crazy, folks.
Go crazy.
He's remembered for that and his post 9/11 speech. Do we play baseball? Yes, of course we do.
So with this win, the Mariners now are what, at 15-12?
I think
16
so.
and 12? Wow.
Let's look.
Place.
They're in first place, and it's not like these wins were out of flukiness. Like, they've actually been beating quality teams. They beat Houston to take 2 of 3. They swept the Texas Rangers. They beat Cincinnati on a very hitters-friendly ballpark when they were already shorthanded with pitchers. And then they beat Toronto in a dome that they usually don't win. And they took 2 of 3 from Boston, which is unheard of. And they just took 2 out of 3 from Miami.
All of a sudden, this team is playing inspired baseball. Wow! Congratulations! They actually turned around and to make it a very successful April. Now it's not just It's not just repeating what you did in April; it's building off of what you did in April and making sure that you don't fall apart in May like we did last year. Last year in May, it was just a terrible month. So yeah, I think that moving forward, this is. I mean, you look at the last 4 or 5 series against quality opponents, and they're able to handle the business. So that leads me to believe that this team can go up against anybody in the American League and make it a series. So build off what you did in April and take it to the next level in May. Give yourself some distance by the end of May.
Give that to them. Now they're going to be 16-12. Rangers are 15-13. Astros are going to be 14-13, though, I believe, because they just won their game. So it's still going to be a close division. And you have the Angels coming to Seattle, and Mike Trout is still healthy. So I still expect that to be a very challenging series. 2-game series, but
Mike Trout historically kicks the shit out of the Mariners. Hey, but Joshy, not in first place, bud. Not in first place right now. Yeah, no, that actually is, because the Mariners were absolutely horrible against the Angels last year. And it will be interesting to see how the Mariners approach the Angels this year. But yeah. But I will say that for as good as the offense was today, 7 runs, their bullpen was just absolutely atrocious. And it looks like I'm not ready to I'm not necessarily ready to write off Colin Snyder yet, but this is now the so far this year I've seen some horrendous performances from Trent Thornton, and it makes you wonder whether or not you're going to be able to rely on him.
You can't, and it makes you wonder what the Mariners are going to do in the future for their bullpen, because it's very concerning, and the starting rotation is also concerning, because not only are you down Logan Gilbert, now luckily he did not have to take a Tommy John, so it's just a 15-day IL. George Kirby's now on a rehab. Bryce Miller's not off to a good start. Luis Castillo, you don't know which one you're getting. So right now, your most consistent starter is Brian Wu and possibly Emerson Hancock, and that's painful for me to say.
Yeah, but you know what, Emerson, man, don't sleep on Annie. He's going to listen, man. He's going to come good. I believe in Emerson Hancock.
His stuff does look much better. Like when I saw him against Cincinnati and saw the highlights against the Red Sox, his stuff does look more improved than it did last year. Like last year, we were just hoping for 5 innings, 2 runs.
But outside of that start last year in Milwaukee where he got blown apart, that was it. That was his bad start. And then it seemed like every start he went 6 innings and held his opponents to 3 runs or under. So.
And don't forget that other than that Detroit game, which was, now you can say that it was kind of a fluke, and it was just the fact that they just ran into Detroit at the worst possible time.
Correct.
Emerson Hancock has been pitching very well, and now if we get everyone back, now that question's going to be, what are you going to do with that? Who's going to be the 1 to 5? You don't know yet. Really depends.
I hate the trident. I hate that stupid trident.
I do too.
Logan Evans was posing with the trident. It's like, he's a pitcher. What are you doing?
He's a poser.
Yeah. He's no. He's not a Rosarina. That's a poser. He's just, I don't know why they have him holding the trident. It's like, dude, you don't hit dingers, so you strike out people. Just handle your business and, let a Rosarina hold the trident every so often.
Yeah.
Or JP or Julio Rodriguez once a month.
Yeah, once a month. But that's actually going to do it. I actually got to roll. But Steve, thank you for coming in towards the end of this game. And Josh, thank you for carrying. You basically did much more work than the Nightbot did to keep this show alive.
Yeah.
And
nobody's better than the Nightbot, though. Nobody's better.
I guess so. Well, that will do it. We'll be back on Tuesday. And everyone, go Mariners.